8th of March. First quote is from Wayne Gretzky, and I believe he was ice hockey champion. He says, "I've missed 100% of the shots I never took." I've missed 100% of the shots I never took. How about that? You know, today is March 8th, which means it's International Women's Day. I'm actually surprised in a way the reading isn't directly connected to that, but it isn't. So I thought I would mention it anyway. And here's some information on that. It's particularly interesting to me because I was brought up by a single mother. You know, from being age 4, my father died when I was 4, and my mother had to bring me up all the way through when I finally left home and went off to work on my own. So she had it tough for many parts of that. So International Women's Day is celebrated each year on the 8th of March, and there's actually a good reason for that, but I don't have enough time to go into all that. The day recognizes women's social, economic, cultural, and political achievements. The ongoing movement for gender equality and women's rights is also recognized. The idea emerged from the early 20th century labor and women's rights movements in both Europe and the United States. It was first widely observed in 1911 in several European countries. In 1975, the United Nations began officially celebrating it globally. So, how's it observed? Around the world today, people mark the day with conferences and events, recognition of women's achievements, advocacy for equality, and cultural celebrations. And in some countries, guess what? It's even a public holiday. And apparently the origin goes back to a fascinating series of events in the early 1900s and part of that protest movement. So there you are. It's International Women's Day. So if you're a woman, celebrate. If you're a man, celebrate. All right, here we are. Where are we now? Oh, yes. The reading for today is called Be Curious Rather Than Certain. Be curious rather than certain. And the Audre Lorde quote is, "Our persistence in examining the tensions within diversity encourages growth toward our common goal." And of course, the two Ernest Holmes quotes, which repeat every day, are, "All the power of the universe is within you." Correct. Feel it, know it, and then act as though it were true. Yes, and you will get results. That's my add-on. As the universe is run by an infinite mind, God, Spirit, the all, whatever you want to call it, so our life is controlled by our thinking. Ignorance of this keeps us in bondage. Knowledge will free us. And those two, of course, are from the Science of Mind textbook. And if you don't know what the Science of Mind textbook is, yeah, I'll explain it later, but not today. Dividing humans by our attributes and our characteristics has always been a controversial tendency. Whether dividing by the constructs of race, gender, religion, social status, which was a big deal where I came from, or some other artificial boundary, we find ourselves left with a sense of brokenness. You are this, I am that, they are that, we are this. Yeah, and where I originated, and in that time, like in the 50s and 60s, and I guess maybe even into the 70s, there was a lot of division, mainly based on two things, religion and social status. So yeah, there was color prejudice as well to a certain extent, but the two biggest ones growing up, at least where I grew up, were religious bias and social status bias. And then she says, yes, there are discernible differences among humans, each one a unique iteration of the divine pattern. The trouble is when we name them and make them matter and assign them value. She says, my skin is brown, my gender is female, my partner is female, and I study religious science. These are the facts that are interesting but not definitive. She says, let's explore why who I am causes tension for someone else. And she's not doing it here. She's suggesting you do that. All right. Why do my characteristics being different from yours cause tension between us? Being curious rather than certain can open us up to so many possibilities. Let's forget what we think we know. Let's have the mind of the child. And, she says, let's truly know each other and be free of the ignorance of any kind of assumed superiority. Honestly, I have never, ever understood why somebody would think that they're much better than somebody because their color is different, the skin color is different, or they speak a different language, or live in different parts of the world. Yes, there are differences, sometimes major differences, but I have never understood why somebody who is completely different to me in gender, in color, in language, in religion, wouldn't be just as intelligent as me and just as useful to society. I've never understood that. I don't get it. And I think I mentioned in the past, I came across a lot of bias against women when I was in corporate America, and it was a struggle, uphill struggle sometimes against that. But it was a worthy struggle, and it worked out sometimes. But I appreciate people have been brought up and they've inherited a lot of views, and it's ingrained into their subconscious minds, and I understand that. But me personally, I don't get it. I mean, I really don't get it. But I'm lucky. As I said, I was lucky to be brought up by a single woman because I got to see how my mother was treated by society, and she was treated less equally than all the men in our family, the extended family. So I could see that firsthand, and I could see how wrong it was. So, but there we are. I am not going to preach. I'm just going to say, let's all know that we're human beings. We're part of this human family, and we celebrate our differences. Our differences are wonderful. We come from different backgrounds. We have different views on life, and we have different differences that we can discuss and explore. But it doesn't make us better or worse than somebody else just because we're different. In fact, it makes the whole thing more interesting. Can you imagine if everybody on this planet was, well, it couldn't be the same gender, but was the same color, had the same social background, had the same religion, looked at life exactly the same way, never had discussions about differences? My God, it would be a boring planet. Right? I mean, it would be a really boring planet. So I celebrate the difference, and so does she. And she says, I'm willing to examine the tension around diversity and be a part of the healing. I'm welcome to examine the tension around diversity and be a part of the healing. And please celebrate the women in your life if you're a man, and if you're a woman, please celebrate the day because it's important. So that's one of the good things about being different. We can celebrate our differences. So please look out for my colleague Reverend Lisa tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page. I'm going to start plugging two things. There's a class coming up on Wednesdays, and it starts on the 18th of this month. It's in the mornings from 10 to 11:30 Central Time. It's called Mycelium of Mind by practitioner David Lamaster. If you want more information about that, info@creativelife.org, or you can contact me. And I'm plugging my World Religions class, where I talk about religions from the Stone Age right through to modern times. And that's 8 weeks, and that starts, I think, on the 16th of April. And that's going to be on Thursday evenings, I think it's 7 to 9 Central Time, if I'm not mistaken. So more information about that, either You can go to info@creativelife.org and request more information, and you can ask me. And I'm going to start posting links. Actually, I'm going to see if I can start posting the QR codes on potentially on here and also on my social media for both of those. So until next time, please take care of yourselves. We've got some wonderful rain. It's good. If you're in the parts of the country experiencing extreme weather, know that our prayers are with you. And if you're not, and you know somebody in those areas, then like me, please pray for their safety. Just know that they're being safe. Okay. So until next time, namaste.